to introduce James Thomas to you, who tonight is actually speaking from Uganda, working on a grant. James is the Charter President of the North Wales and North West England Passport Club, and in his Rotary capacity, Charter President of the Rotaract E-Club of Great Britain and Ireland, and Chair-elect of Rotaract Great Britain and Ireland. Professionally, James is a self-employed software engineer who specializes in website development. In his free time, I'm not sure that you'll have much, he's an avid croquet player, playing as part of England's international development squad. So it's a real pleasure to welcome you here tonight, James. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Rory. And it's fantastic being here. As Rory said, I'm from Uganda, so if there are any sort of hiccups, please bear with me. I like, when I'm speaking, to do a sort of fireside chat-esque, where I won't bore everyone with PowerPoint slides. Yes, there will be information delivered in this talk, but I think it's better when I'm just sort of speaking directly at everybody, rather than you see my face in a small little box if I put a PowerPoint on. So I thought it would be best to start this talk with a bit of background on my Rotary journey. Now I am in Rotaract as well, but I'm gonna not mention that and just mention my Rotary journey, because actually, atypically, I started out as a Rotarian before becoming a Rotaractor. So I joined Rotary at the age of 19 in a very traditional club, you know, your cookie cutter Rotary club that meets on an evening, has a buffet, has a very rigid schedule. And the reason I joined that club is actually to connect more with my grandfather. So he's been a member for 38 years. And I thought, what better way to spend some time with him than join the club? Little did I know what that would, you know, open the door for me as a person. But I've grown incredibly since the age of 19, thanks to Rotary. So I joined at the age of 19, and shortly after joining, there was a district council meeting, and I don't know why anyone thought that would be a good idea for a new member to attend a district council meeting when they're fresh into Rotary. But actually, I got invited, and as it happens with Rotary, you attend, you put your face out there, and you leave the meeting with a role, with a job. You can't escape a district event without getting yourself a job. So I became the district webmaster. Because it's part of my vocation, you know, it's an obvious choice. I'm very young. People think, oh, young person, IT, great. So they got me into the district team. They wasted no time. The following year, I actually took over as the district public image lead, because the current lead was desperate to stand down. And I have a media-esque background, but I was still quite young and still at the time a student, but that really helped my development. So as well as in tandem to that, I served on a number of my club committees, you know, was quite involved with my club. Now, why am I saying all this sort of background? Well, what started the Passport Club is I actually felt at a point I'd been in my traditional club for 2.5 years. And as it happens with traditional clubs, nobody wants to be club president. You know, it's a sort of point where someone's roped in, like, oh, come on, you've been in here now for long enough, you be the president. And it was the same in my club. So knowing this, I thought, great, it's my chance to serve. I can do it. I feel like it would be a great experience for me to be president. I was buzzing. I wanted to be the president. So I put myself forward. Now, in this club, contrary to what is in the Rotary Code of Policies, the incoming president selects the next president, rather than it being a sort of open forum, if you will, open election. And so I approached this person and expressed my interest, and they said, you're too young, you can't be a president, you're too young, you haven't had enough life experience, wait till you're older, you wouldn't be able to be president of the club. So, as you can imagine, I was a bit disgruntled, a bit disenfranchised by that. I complained to the district, and nothing really happened. Fine, fair enough. I believe I would have actually left Rotary had it not been for being a member of the district team. So from that point on, I sort of washed my hands with the club and thought, right, I'm a district Rotarian. I'm committed to helping the district as a whole rather than my club. So that, as you can imagine, was not a great experience in this traditionalist club. And it led to the creation of this Passport Club because I realized there were many other disenfranchised Rotarians in the district that weren't happy with their club because it didn't fit their needs. They become quite unhappy. So I spoke to Steve Martin, who is actually the membership coordinator now, but before then he was the district governor and then the immediate past in my district. And he spoke to me about passport clubs. So along with him and the current district governor and the incoming district governor, we thought, why don't we start a club that would act as if like a safety net for Rotarians, a second choice. If you are so unhappy in your club, why not join this club? Or if you've left Rotary recently, you don't want to start a club of your own, why don't you join this club? That is very different to a traditional club. Now, it's not to say it would replace the traditional club, but it just offers the alternative. So we set out to create that, and little did we know how much it would evolve from that. So we started with a nucleus of 5 Rotarians, current Rotarians, that were wanting to transfer into this club, to start a new club, leave their current club. And what happened was we went from 5 Rotarians to 22 members in 3 months. So we chartered from the first introductory meeting to charter was in 3 months. And so we had 5 Rotarians, and the rest were either people that had left Rotary completely for a year or 2, or brand new people. So we weren't sort of going around like whale poachers, poaching in the high seas for Rotarians to come to join our club. We knew the people that were on the cusp of leaving, we got them, and then we looked for fresh people. So we chartered very quickly. Now, it was also the first of its kind in Great Britain and Ireland. There was no other passport clubs at the time. Now I believe there's one that's chartered in London, which is absolutely fantastic. So what actually makes this different from a traditional club? The origin of the name Passport Club is essentially you're like a direct membership Rotarian, where you have this passport and you go around to your local clubs, and it's a passport to Rotary. So you go around, you help your local clubs, and that was in essence the Passport Club model as RI had written it. So you join the Passport Club, you're a member of that club, but you help other clubs. We have actually branched off away from that a bit. The structure in our club is that it's split up into different teams or hubs. So we currently have 5 teams. Now, because our club is a district club, it covers the geographical area of Mid and North Wales and Northwest England. It's a very large area. How can you fellowship with that large of an area? So we have these local teams. So we have one in Southport, the Wirral, Conway. It's basically based on the counties, and it works incredibly well. These teams, they meet separately, but they are not separate entities. They are all members of the club, and there's this awesome synergy between the teams. So they run projects independently or as a club. We all meet together fortnightly as a club, but they also meet separately to discuss local grassroots level things. And yeah, it works really well, surprisingly well. And we didn't actually, when we started this club, we didn't say, all right, this is how we're going to do it. What we did was we sat down and said, what are the good bits of Rotary and what are the bad bits? And we started running meetings, and the membership of the club decided the direction of the club. Because we knew with how disenfranchised and disgruntled some people were, the only way this would succeed is if we went fully membership-driven, project-driven. I, as the charter president coming in, I thought to myself, what is the one goal I want to achieve as president? And that is, if you as an individual enter this club and you have an idea, a project, there's no committee it has to go through, there's no club admin, there's no club council, there's no vote. You have an idea, we're a family, and we do that idea, we do the project, we support each other. And that is the culture and the ethos that we've been going with as a club. Now, what does that actually mean in terms of what have we been doing since we chartered? By the way, we chartered in August the 25th of last year. So since then, we've completed 10 projects. We have 12 current projects. £24,000 has passed through our club account. And we've partnered or worked with 32 different Rotary clubs. So how does such a young club with only 22 people actually achieve that? Well, I would say engagement. We don't have any sort of backseat Rotarians in this club. Every single member of this club does something as much as they want. It fits around their life, but we don't meet for dinners. We don't have club speakers. They attend the meeting, they speak about their projects, and they move on. It is very, very project driven. It's actually one of the easiest clubs to be a president of, because I don't have to worry about setting this agenda. I could come to a meeting very last minute, and I would know that there would be an hour's worth of content, because the membership are so engaged and so enthused that they'll all just chat and exchange ideas, and you'll walk away from the meeting with a new project. They are addicted to these projects, and it's become this sort of cohesive glue in our district that it has. Once all the clubs were quite insular and separate, and now they're actually all speaking to each other and working together. Now this didn't come about very easily. Has to be said that my first 3 months as president were incredibly tough. And why were they tough? Well, it wasn't the membership of the club that made it tough. It was the other clubs in the district. Having to explain to them what this was, that it wasn't a replacement to traditional Rotary, that we weren't breaking the territorial rules of Rotary as they would see it. I've had a number of meetings with clubs, because we're thinking now Rotary is entering areas where there's only been one club for us since the dawn of time, and now suddenly there's these new kids on the block who are all shiny and new, taking away from the good name of the old clubs. So we had some challenges, but we did get through it, and we got through it by saying, look, we're not coming here to swoop in and say that, oh, it's a passport club doing all this. no. If you want us to fundraise, your club can have all the money. If you want the credit, it's fine. All we want to do is do service. We just want to collaborate. And that sort of positive reinforcement and the idea that certainly your club isn't going to fold from lack of members because they'll all be coming to the Passport Club. That fear of change, of something new, it left. And it was great that for the past few months, we've had no problems. We've worked, as I said, with 32 clubs, partnered with, and it's gone very well. We've done 2 district grants as a club, and one of them is why I'm in Uganda. And actually, what made this grant a success is from going with other clubs and going, let's all do this grant together. You know, it's been a bad year for Rotary and raising money. Let's all club our resources together and do something special. So I've given you now quite a lot of information to chew on regarding the Passport Club. And some questions I commonly get, because some people struggle to sort of imagine a club this fluid. So some of the questions are, once you join the Passport Club, that is your club. You can only join one Rotary club. So if you're a member of the Passport Club, you're a member in good standing. You can't join any other club. We charge £10 a month for membership. We try and keep it as low as possible, and that is obviously a monthly bill. We haven't ever actually met up in person, but that's because we chartered in COVID times. So we will plan to probably have a physical fellowship in the centre of our district once out of the month, and then one business meeting online on Zoom. So we'll convert to hybrid, as many clubs are. And yeah, the other aspect to it as well is that in our district, and I'm sure it's the same in other districts, that you struggle to get people on the district team. And then in some clubs, even the word district sends a shiver down the spine of Rotarians. Oh, district, a necessary layer of bureaucracy or something, something like that. I hear it often in my district. This Passport Club is sort of a bit of a holding pen for the district team as well, because you're already dealing with all the clubs in the district, you're exposed to all of them, and because there are so many of the district team in this club, it's sort of fostering that good positive reinforcement of what the district does, who the district is, and what roles there are available. So that was a sort of side effect of this club, that suddenly we've identified people that would be a good fit for the district team. Normally, how would we have found them? So I think that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. And I've spoken about the Passport Club, I think about 20 times now. And the best way to digest this sort of club is actually to ask questions. So I will pass.
I've got some for you. For you. Okay. Would you mind terribly much? Wait a minute. It's okay. All right. Thank you. This is easier for me. Thank you. So Dr. Mukunda says, what do you mean by not so good about Rotary? Why were some feeling disenfranchised?
Okay, so I obviously gave my reason for why I was feeling disenfranchised, because I was discriminated based on age, and that is obviously very common in Rotary as a young leader, and it's the same with women. So there's a few women that joined our club because they were in a very male-centric club, and they had that same discrimination, unfortunately. Our first meeting was with those 5 Rotarians, and it was quite an anti-Rotary meeting. You would be surprised hearing about it and thinking, why are they in this organization if they're saying all this? But what we decided was we air all the laundry, then we move on to the next meeting. We don't talk about it ever again. It's in the past. So there was a combination. One person was trying to get the 4 clubs in her area to work together and run projects together, and it wouldn't work because of the politics of the grandmother club won't work with the grandchild club or something silly like that. But as soon as she joined the Passport Club, because she wasn't affiliated with that club with all its baggage, suddenly everyone wanted to work with her. So there are many reasons, and they're all very petty. But we definitely don't dwell on that, and we are very pro-positive Rotary. And they're actually now the minority of our members. Every person we've asked to join us in the Passport Club has stayed as well. I think we've done retention quite well thus far. Touch wood.
James, Joy Bailey wants to know, what's the average age of your members, please?
Yeah, so people, they look at me and they think this whippersnapper are all the people who are very young in this club. And the answer is no, actually. I think the average age is probably 40, 44, 45. So I think it's bang on a sort of fresh Rotary club. They all have that age, and we have a spread of, we have at least one person in every age bracket. So we're quite spread out quite nicely.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Mukunda again says, my Rotaract friends from 1970s are in 4 different countries. Can they come together to join the Passport Club? And if so, how? 4 countries.
There are, I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's no reason why you can't form together to create a Passport Club, because another common question I get is, what's the difference between a Passport Club and an e-club? And there can be a lot of overlap, or there can be a big difference. Like I would say our club is very different to an e-club because we're quite local. But there are other Passport Clubs, especially in Australia, which are quite global, and they stay true to the passport nature of it. So I would say, yes, I can recommend a few clubs, because there are quite a few across the world.
I think it's worth pointing out on that one, isn't it, that with a Passport Club or a hub or whatever, wherever that club is chartered, that's actually where, if there are fees being passed across, that they are passed across, and that's where the club comes under, subject to the laws of that particular country or location. So that's how you overcome those problems somebody else will be thinking about with 4 countries. Thank you, James. Now another one, another one, Dr. Mukunda. If it's a Passport Club, Martina says, if you have this Passport Club with no council, how do you decide such issues such as subscription levels, etc.?
So we are very, I always, my club members make fun of me because I always say fluid, and I like fluidity and I like flexibility. I'm not a very formal, I'm formal in my professional life, but it stays there. I'm very informal in Rotary because how do you relate to regular people if you're overly formal? So the way we make decisions is that every member, and this is common in a traditional club as well, this isn't unique to Passport Clubs, but every member of our club is a de facto member of the club council. So the club council is the club. And if there were such decisions where we had to hold a vote, then every member would be entitled to vote. And those aren't as common as you would expect, really.
So a question from Robert is, what reaction do you have when asking new members to join, saying they need to pay £10 a month to do service?
Well, I tell them a little slice of my own development because I think £10 a month, and I'm as young as they come in Rotary, and I think £10 a month is a pretty good value. Where can you go where you get all this free mentorship from people that have spent their entire careers working, and they're just ready to help you progress in life? I could barely shake a hand when I joined Rotary. It is the best decision I've made, and I can definitely say that because I'm not married, but I've stood in front of 400 people and spoke. I've spoke to people from across the world. I'm in Uganda doing a project, and I'm right now in the house of a Rotaractor. It connected me beyond belief. And all I'm paying is £10 a month. I mean, why would you not want to join Rotary with that? And I think one of our key issues is we forget the core value of our organisation, and we don't tell people about that. You know, the real value that we have in our hands of Rotary. Yeah.
Because I sort of answered to that question. Well, we have 1.2 million members, and wherever you go in the world, you can go into a Rotary club. You're welcome in all, and you're equal in all. Right. Now this one, I got a feeling it's you and me, James, that might need to answer this one, and we might need some help from the floor. So Andy has asked for us to explain the difference between a passport club and an e-club. Now, I can start with the e-club, and then you can fill in all the gaps. Would that be okay? So an e-club is a club within a district. It's started up with numbers, becoming a group, etc. It doesn't need a mother club. It can be a standalone. And the point is that folk agree that they only want to meet online, be it every week or every 2 weeks. And then they, in the same way as what James is talking about, can agree on projects, agree on who brings it. They too will have the structure along the line of a district with a president, secretary, etc. And they will pay the £10 a month subs minimum into the district where it's set up. Now, if I've missed anything, I expect to see hands up and experts to put me straight. But James, do you want to speak into what I've said while I scan the screen?
Yeah, I think, and it's like a Rotary club, but online is the sort of easiest way, isn't it? Right. Now the Passport Club, it can be purely online, or it can be a mixture of the two, or it can be very local. One of the key differences about the Passport Club is that you don't have to attend any meetings in the club if you're attending other clubs. So that's one of the things I think that makes it quite passporty. You know, I'm a Rotarian, I can visit any club, I can participate in a project. There is a requirement on the amount of service that you have to do. You have to do 2 things a month, but they can be with any club. So you're not going to get this club knocking at your door saying, where are you? If you're working with other clubs, we're happy. I think that's one of the key differences, really, that it's that whole ethos that every club is your club.
But of course, we've been helped by the relaxation in the last couple of years by Rotary, haven't we? In terms of attendance, classifications, etc. It's getting a lot more relaxed in those areas, and it's not, I don't think, as draconian as perhaps it used to be, or there's a lot more flexibility. So you work out what works for you, along with what your district governor wants, etc., and you go with it. I didn't see any hands up to correct me, so we're going to just take it as you said. It's an e-club is a club online. Now, Stuart has said, how do you actually get these folk? Where are you finding them?
So we have a very large catchment area in our district, and we are it's very exciting. We're at the cusp of bringing in a lot of people, because one thing I neglected to mention is that we have 112 people that help our club. We're counting that quite vigorously. You know, some people call it Friends of Rotary. We call it potential members. Yeah. So we have all these people on the outside helping us. And what we do is we are not desperate for membership. We handle membership in that you will want to join us because we're this good, not please join us, we're desperate. It's that sort of shift where we speak, all our members in all their respective locations talk about their experience in the club, as I am doing tonight. So I live in a small village called Pemamawr in North Wales. And I recruited someone there who is 30 years old. He's new to the town, by just speaking about the international work that I've done in Rotary, and how much it's helped me in my career development and leadership development. And he said, where do I sign up? That was it. And so everybody in their respective areas is doing that similar thing. And they're getting members because we're not trying to sell the club. We're selling Rotary as an organization. And I think a lot of clubs try and sell themselves as this all saving grace, but it's the organization. I think that's the main selling point for people that are outside.
Do you think it's a bit like having something in a shop window, and actually what's in the shop window are projects and the fact that we're so big, etc. It doesn't matter which shop you go to, you get to choose your shop. But if you're interested in this project or this item, you can go in and get it. So our shop window presumably is what we do, and are the people who are doing it.
Yeah, and getting people involved, like not asking, will you attend our meeting? It's, would you like to help with this project? And giving them a specific purpose, and without the expectation of, you need to pay £10 a month and be a member to do this. No, once they become friends with our members, they want to be involved in the next projects that we're doing. As I said, we have many projects. We have an extreme amount of projects that we're doing at once. So it's such a mixed bag. And that just attracts people of all ages. It's not even specific. It can be retirees, it can be existing Rotarians, young people such as myself, people in the middle of their career. It's just what people like. It's a preference.
Thank you. So another question was that Bob said, as a retired member, I often hear it said that younger people, i.e. 30 to 50s, are too busy with family, work and other commitments to join a Rotary Club. Do you think that's an excuse for failure to recruit from younger members? Careful now, don't hurt any feelings.
Well, there's a lot of hard to swallow pills when you're speaking about Rotary membership. I would say, yes, it's a bit of a cop-out, but at the same time, now I'm speaking from direct experience of joining a club with their average age was 74 years old. When I joined, I brought it down to 72 years old. So I've been in a club with older people. I enjoy the company of older people. However, not everybody does. It's sorry to say, if you're looking to recruit someone in their 30s and your average age is 72, well, why? Recruit someone that's 65, it's 60. You know, I think that's one of the problems. A lot of clubs go wrong where they go too low when they could be going. Someone that's freshly retired has so much service to give. You know, they're just as energetic as I am.
No. Holger said there was no wrong age for a Rotarian, even 80. Do you remember?
And everyone has time for Rotary. Everyone really does have time, because it's all about selling how it fits around your life, and not the other way around at all.
You have answered this, but just to clarify for the person, so Dr. Mukunda, can a Rotarian be a member of a traditional club and also the Passport Club? I think the key is the word member, isn't it? So
yes. So you can't be a member of two Rotary clubs. You can be a member of a Rotary and a Rotaract club if you're my age. you can't be a member of 2 Rotary clubs, but you could attend, like you could come to my club meeting every week. We wouldn't mind if you were a Rotarian. You know, we have an open door policy, so you can be a frequent guest of as many clubs as you like.
But that's what's happening at COVID. People are going to all different meetings, and some are doing sort of several meetings. Well, before they got zoomed out, several meetings a week. So it's a lot more versatility now because you don't have to travel. Anne has asked, how do you monitor what your club members are doing in terms of service?
That's a really good question. Now, I just started by saying that I explained the Passport Club, and then I said our club's a bit different, because what we set out was, we said this is what you can do, but you can also do whatever you want. And what they've opted to do is start their own projects, like similar to a traditional club, but they bring those projects then to the other clubs. So we don't actually have 22 members running around to all different clubs, visiting and helping with our projects necessarily. They're bringing projects and sort of starting the projects from the beginning as a joint endeavour. So we use Rotary Club Central. We heavily monitor through that. We have someone capturing all the hours of what someone's doing. And then at the end of every month, I look at all the data and I see, great, this team is doing that, this team's doing that. If we have one team that's not doing very much, check in on them, see how they're doing, give them a gentle push, not to say you need to do more, but to say, have you seen the other clubs recently? You know, a bit of positive reinforcement and a lot of membership outreach. So we use all the tools that we're given by Rotary International to measure our impact.
Thank you. I think you've answered this one. Put 2 questions together. So Jim is saying, do you then support other clubs as well as the things in your own club? And then Peter's wanting to know, what type of projects do you run that are associated with established clubs?
Okay. So yes, we do join existing projects, because a lot of clubs have what I would call legacy projects that they do on an annual basis. They've always done. If they need people around for that, then we will help them. We know that many clubs are struggling right now with activity and engagement and general things because of COVID. So we are that. We're constantly asking clubs, is there anything you need us to do? We are here. We are a support for you. And that was, as I said, one of the key reasons clubs came round to the idea of the Passport Club when at first they were a bit defensive. Now, what type of projects do we do with established clubs? There is not really any specific type of project. It's every project. There's not like a litter pick or anything. It's honestly everything. We do a project called a recipe box, where we have the recipe printed out and we have all the components to the recipe, all the food, and then we donate that to people that are needy, that need the food. So that's a very simple project. And we also have a Passmobile, we have a van, and we go around helping clubs with this van. So that's another tool that we use that comes in very handy for transporting things. We do a goodie bag for the elderly. So we actually do a lot of stuff for the elderly, keeping them entertained, engaging them. So our goodie bag has like knitted things and bird feeders and things like that. We have one of our main projects was a potato business. you may have been surprised when I said we've had over £24,000 run through our account. How can you do that during a pandemic? Well, we had a big grant. We had a £6,000 grant from PAVO, which is a service in Powys County, and that was for a potato business that buys potatoes and donates it to sells potatoes and donates a large portion of them to all the food banks. So we were supplying 24 food banks in the Powys area with potatoes and veg. So there's quite a variety of what we're doing. I could speak. You could do a whole session on all these projects because there's so many, and they come about not by any vote, just by one person saying, "I have this idea," and it happens.
And it's a stupid question because of your age and everything, but you obviously have a social media presence. Would you be so kind as to type into the chat for everyone where they can find your page, or be it Facebook or whatever, so that they could go and get inspiration from some of this or make contact? Would you like to do that? And I think that all of the general questions have come up. So it just beggars one question before we close. And by handing over to Rory, tell us what you're doing in Uganda right now.
Okay, so yeah, I for 2.5 months I was working for an NGO that's a youth-led organisation. I won't go into that because you want to hear about the Rotary step. So I came to Uganda last year, and I hopped on the bandwagon with another club, and it touched me like I'd never expected. You know, Africa got under my skin. It really impacted my life, and that's when I decided, between the lockdowns, completely compliantly, I came back to Uganda in December, and I've been here since, and I've been stewing on this project. The project is it's a feminine hygiene project. So last year, we brought over reusable sanitary towels for the girls. And when I interviewed one of the girls and asked what was your most prized possession, she said, my sanitary product that we'd no less brought 1 week ago. And to me, that as a man, that really impacted me. So I went thinking, we have to solve the problem in a sustainable way. Why would we just bring them these? This doesn't solve their problem long term. So the district grant is to open a sewing class, which teaches them to sew and to produce the reusable sanitary products. That has now been successfully completed. And I'm happy to give anyone more information about that. It was incredibly fulfilling experience for me because I've been the sole administrator for this project, you know, out here by myself. What other opportunity do you get to sort of manage an international project like this? So we did that, and because I had a bit of additional funding, we're going to be running awareness sessions for the boys in the school about feminine hygiene to try and dispel some of that stigma, which again I feel quite strongly about because one of my key focuses in life is women's issues. So that educating them on that to reduce that sort of pain that women go through is fantastic. And as I was out here, in the same place that I am currently located, there is a global grant. And that global grant is to grow 4 acres of coffee. And the coffee is obviously quite a lucrative crop here. And what that will do is the coffee will be grown and sold, and it will fund the schools. So it gives them more of independence over, you know, wanting foreign aid. You know, they're actually sustaining themselves by growing the coffee. It's funding the school. The school, because in Uganda you have to pay for school fees, as low as, you know, primary school. So this school is free, so it has the orphaned and destitute children at this school. So the Coffee Project will fund that school. And I'm thankful that I've been able to collaborate with another club to be the man on the ground for them in this project, because they've not been able to come out here because of COVID. So I've got two involvements.
Wonderful. I'm quite envious. I spent my first 18 months in Africa and Uganda in a place called Rukungiri, which you probably won't know. But it's not too far from Masaka, because you go through to Masaka to get it. And then I spent the rest in Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and Congo. So yeah, 11 years. So it's quite nice to revisit in this way. So thank you so much. I think you've answered everyone's questions. It was just that Mr. Jarrett came back on this e-club and this passport club and the difference. And effectively, I think what we were just saying is the passport club have plans to meet face to face, and then if they can't all congregate in one place because they cover a large area, they will meet in different locations, different members of them in the various counters, whereas an e-club normally would never meet unless they decided to do a social. So it's a club in every sense of the word. They're Rotarians in every sense of the word, but they don't physically meet. So it actually cuts down the cost to £10 a month to being a Rotarian, which is a huge selling point. Have I covered that sufficiently well, James?
Yeah, I think so. And the whole team aspect is not written in stone for passport clubs. It's sort of something that just evolved naturally for our club, and it just works so well.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to hand back to